Right, hello everyone. So, unfortunately, Sam has run away to Cyprus, burning his skin, and he didn't want to do the podcast this week. So, I am your host, Jack. Welcome back. How was your holiday before we get started?
Oh yeah, I've not been here. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
I've had 2 weeks off, and we should all go on holiday at the same time, so it doesn't disrupt service so much. But yeah, I'm good, thank you, Harry. What are the socials, Harry?
Yeah, oh my God. The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, Spotify, please rate us 5 stars, and YouTube. Bayliss, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good.
Very good. This is going to be an absolute car crash, but we move. So last week, the news broke that Man City wanted Mateus Nunes. A week later, the bid has been accepted. We'll go to you first, Jack, because you wasn't here to talk about it. What have you made of the whole situation of the late bid?
Firstly, I was quite surprised because it's no secret that Pep has been a fan of Nunes in comments over the past couple of years, particularly when he was playing in Sporting. I think he said he was, one of the potentially the best attacking midfielders in the world, or words to that effect. But to come this late in the window, when Nunes really seems to have been settled into, our plans for the coming season, and when, let's be brutally honest, given the reputation he came with and the price tag we paid for him, has probably not lived up to the hype so much in a Wolves shirt that I thought maybe the reason that he wasn't getting his move to Liverpool originally, everyone thought it was, didn't they? The way he wasn't getting that move this summer early on was because his performances probably weren't up to it. I think he's probably just had, one goal and one assist, was it, or something like that in a Wolves shirt. It wasn't exactly like he's set the world on fire. But fair enough, their interest comes in quite late, and it just seems like a very weird chain of events because there's rumours coming out now saying that basically the terms were agreed with Man City, the personal terms were agreed with Man City before Wolves even knew there was an offer on the table, which is just all very shady and backhanded. And then you really can't compliment the way he's handled the situation personally at all, really, because he'd have come into Wolves, he signed a long contract, he'd be getting paid a lot of money. It's probably close to the Matinho level of 100 grand a week, isn't it, to even get him here in the first place. And to handle it, basically go on strike and throw your toys at the pram a little bit. I mean, that doesn't really ring like the sort of professionalism that I think a Pep Guardiola would expect from his team. So it's just left a bit of a bad taste in the mouth, really. And to be honest, I'm quite happy today because I didn't want this to drag on, because it's a lose-lose situation for us, because either we're stuck with a player who doesn't want to be here and has to then try and be reintegrated back into a squad where he's basically said screw you to your teammates in the last week because he's got an offer on the table. But you can't blame him for wanting to go to Man City. Every footballer in the world want to go to Man City. They're the best team in the world, aren't they? Let's be honest, by a long way. Yeah. So you can't blame him, but there's ways of going about it where you could have handled it a bit better, and I just didn't want to be stuck here with him after he didn't want to be here. So I'm glad they finally got the offer up a little bit. It's probably still a little bit low compared to what we wanted, given we have to give Sporting some, but it's just been a bit of a saga that's left a bad taste in the mouth, really.
Yeah, Bayliss, what do you think about him refusing to train while it was all going on?
Yeah, I think Jack captured it quite nicely, didn't he? But that sort of behaviour isn't right. I mean, he isn't a world beater yet. He hasn't set the world on fire here. He's had a couple of good games, and that's about it. Watch me come and have to eat my words in a couple of weeks when he's unbelievable for him. But, it's just it's not professional behaviour, is it? You shouldn't do that as a professional sports person. Hold a club to ransom to walk out the door. And from the situation it was, I think Wolves have probably done a pretty good job of it, getting something back in return by the looks of things. A young prospect that wants to probably come and prove himself and, make a name for himself and get that next big move. So hopefully we get some good years out of him. I haven't seen a lot of him. I know that Sheffield United fans were very complimentary of him in the Championship last season. But other than that, I don't know too much, and I can't really offer that much of an opinion on it because it's pretty new news.
The thing I found weird for it, I mean, 5 million's decent, Jack, but it's a 50% sell-on clause for that Tommy Doyle, which is that unheard of? Have you ever heard of a 50% sell-on clause?
That seems quite high, but it's just a classic big club move, isn't it? That they can probably put in something like that. The thing that, and I don't know, obviously, write Tommy Doyle off before he's come or anything, but I've always a bit sceptical about taking players from big top sides who don't make the grade. I was trying to think, like, who's the best player who was, a young player, should we say, not one who's coming like towards the end of their career. Who's the best player we've signed from a top 6 club who came in at a young age and has actually performed really well. And I can't think of any.
No,
you just think that's the ones we've had, like bloody
Borthwick
Jackson.
Yeah,
those sorts of names are the ones. It's like the hand-me-downs from Arsenal, like Ali Adier, or these sorts of players who I can't remember anybody who's tore up the trees. But I think this lad is rated in Man City. He's rated by the Sheffield United. Obviously, he played quite a lot last season, and they went up, so he can't have been doing too badly. He scored in the FA Cup quarter final, was it? I think.
Yeah.
To get because they did quite well, didn't they? I think they got to Wembley, they Sheffield United last year. So, there's something there. And if he wants to come and fight for his place in a team, because obviously trying to get into the Man City midfield is, it's near impossible, isn't it? Even for a very good footballer. So it's just nice that we're actually having very, very late in the window. It seems like it's going to be a fun 2 days. There's actually some names flying about with coming from quite warm sources as well, like Fabrizio and these sorts of places, and papers in France and these sorts of things. So hopefully now, after what has been probably up until now the worst transfer window I can remember in my living memory, it might actually save it these last few days. But we just got to draw a line under the Nunes thing now and hopefully take that money and reinvest what we can. Yeah,
just before we move on from Nunes, Bayliss, what do you think of the fee? Do you think we should have got more than 60 million? Apparently it's 55 million with add-ons, which gets to 60 million. I thought we'd be looking for like 70 million odd, because that Tommy Doyle deal apparently is completely separate.
Yeah, and that's euros, remember, not pounds as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What's he done that justifies him being a 70 million quid player?
Ran through Man United's defence.
He's played well. He's clearly a good player.
Monday night game.
But I don't think he's... Look, Wolves could have held out and pushed him back to January, and then we'd have, he might not have played. City might have lowballed again or something, and then we'd have ended up with a player on big wages doing nothing. So at the end of the day, it's a player back. It's 45 million quid in the kitty for 32 spent or something. So you just take it. And, it's not the sort of person you want around your team, especially when we've got a real tough job this year of just staying in the league. All well and good having a good player, but if he's going to start souring the dressing room and, thinking he's the big I am after a handful of decent games in the Premier League, then he's probably not for us. He can go and play in the Carabao Cup for City and come on and get 10 minutes every third week.
What you said though, I refuse to believe that these two deals are completely separate, because if you think a young English midfielder who's had a very good season in the Championship for 5 million quid, that doesn't add up to me. That these days that's going to be an extra probably 10 million on top of that, really, for that sort of player. So I think this has been a case of they wouldn't come up to the asking price we wanted for Nunes, but instead they've taken a bit off the other deal as a sweetener and just to get it both done at the same time, which probably works for everybody involved. So yeah, I'm just glad that let's just get it done and get it over the line, man. We can't risk him staying here because he obviously doesn't want to be here, really, and that's fair enough. I'm guessing he only came because he knew Wolves was a stepping stone, but he could handle himself a little bit better. There's no way Neves would have done something like that, would there? So
exactly.
He just takes the blood money.
Yeah. I wonder if Nunes will do a goodbye interview, sat at Molineux crying. I doubt it, but it's yet to be seen. Let's move on to the Everton game. We're going chronological order. Jack, it's 3 wins in 3 away at Everton now. It's for the first time ever. What was your initial thoughts of the team? Hwang was in for Nunes, obviously he was suspended, and Bueno came in for Ait-Nouri. Was you happy with the starting lineup first off?
So, to be honest, yeah, I think everybody sort of predicted the only way to swap. Well, Hwang needed to come into that team because the only one who looked like he could score, to be honest with you. So, Hwang for Nunes was the obvious one. I was a little bit surprised for the Ait-Nouri Bueno swap, but I know obviously they changed that round in the game as well. To be honest, though, in regards to the performance, particularly in the first half, I was very worried. I thought we were bloody rubbish, to be honest. I thought it was a matter of time until Everton scored. That bloke who we have criticised quite a lot, even this season, for certain aspects of his game, e.g. his kicking, had an absolute blinder when he just has a shot to save. He's just like, he's a different human being. And obviously, really, man of the match performance from Jose Sarr, which kept us in that game. And even though we got a little bit better in the second half and created a few chances, I still think Everton looked the most likely to score, to be honest. But then, what happens if you just stick a big man up front and try and get a ball into him? You've seen it in the past. It's not something we ever usually try and do as Wolves, but it just worked. And Everton must hate us because we go there and win quite a lot. But I remember like last season, that was Lopetegui's first game, wasn't it? We were pretty lucky then, but we weren't bothered. I think they'll be hating us even more after the one the other day, because how they didn't score like at least one or two, really. They must be looking at themselves and thinking like, what have we got to do to score here, creating these chances? And Jose is just everywhere. But the worrying thing was that they did create a lot of chances, and they're a team that's lost their first 2 opening games, the same as us. So it's a good win. We needed to get points on the board. Not a perfect performance though, but credit to the goalkeeper and credit to our goal scorer, really, just sticking to it.
Yeah, I mean, Baelish, you were the only one on the podcast last week who kind of stuck up for Jose Sarr. Like me, Mark, Sam, all wanted Bentley in. So Gary O'Neill, fair play to him, stuck to his guns, and that one save second half, as like Jack mentioned, when he tipped it over, he's won us the game there off that save.
It's really annoying, isn't it, that is save of the season, and Alisson goes and does a equally ridiculous save for Liverpool in the same weekend. But yeah, he kept us in the game. I was actually chatting with a mate who's an Everton fan, just over the course of since the game, and he was saying to me, "God, it was like watching Everton play Everton," and I thought, yeah, it was like watching Wolves play Wolves. Sometimes you've got to ride your luck a little bit to get results, but they were those chances. I mean, their chances were as bad as Cunha's at Man United, and we lost that game. So, you win some, you lose some, as they say.
Yeah, we were poor first half. Juan got injured, didn't he? And when Ait-Nouri come on left midfield, I thought it worked really well. Do you think we should do that going forward, Jack? Have Bueno left back, Ait-Nouri. Because he put the ball in for Fabio, the one that was offside. I think he's really good left wing, Ait-Nouri.
We need to talk about Fabio, actually, now you've said that. But yeah, you remember when Lopetegui came in, he started playing Ait-Nouri in that position. And it looked good then, and then suddenly he fell out of favour. So I like it as an option. Whether it should be the permanent thing to have Bueno and Ait-Nouri in the same side, it just looks a little bit, maybe too forward-facing and attacking. So I don't know how if that would leave us open, sort of going down that side. Let's talk about Fabio for a minute, because he likes scoring goals when he's offside. He can finish when he's offside, which is, I feel for him, because he's done what he had to in those situations where he turned out to be slightly off. But what about that one where God knows what Pickford and the defender are doing? Like, Pickford just needs to come and clear that, and he just stops for some reason and lets Fabio in. And granted, I'm guessing Fabio didn't think he was going to get there, so he was a bit set back, but he's got to be hitting the target, isn't he?
I knew he was going to miss. As soon as he ran through it, I thought he's putting this wide. You'd put your house on it, wouldn't you? And you could tell by his face. I mean, we're going to get onto Blackpool. Obviously, he scored there, but it's a completely different level. But Baelish, he's got to start scoring, hasn't he? Now it's getting a bit silly. He had 2 great chances at United. Obviously, literally carbon copy against Brighton. 1 offside goal, as Jack mentioned. Missed a sitter. Is he going to come good or not? I don't know.
As I've said, I've turned over a new leaf. I've got a much more positive outlook on everything, and he's had his chances. He's got to come good. I can just see it. He's looked too good and too lively to not bag one, and then once he bags one, it'll start to roll. I've got it. He's going to score Sunday. I'm fairly confident of it.
But were we not having the same conversation and saying the same thing about Fabio 2 years ago? Like, he's creating chances, he's getting involved. It's just a matter of time. The floodgates will open. And it seems to be history repeating itself a little bit, but he is getting involved. He is having chances. It would be more worried if he was off the pace and not creating chances. So I think it's a bit too soon after 3 games, particularly when I know you said he scored last night in the League Cup, but a goal's a goal, and you can only score against what you're playing against. And at least he scored. So let's see how it goes. But I think we have to have a little bit more patience with him, because although he's been playing a decent standard of football in the Dutch league, it's not quite up to the pace of the Premier League, I don't think. So it will take a bit of adjusting. But
Jack,
he's only 21. So
Jack, our strikers in a couple of games now scored more goals than Wolves strikers have for the last 2 seasons. Just be happy. just enjoy the fact we've actually scored goals, and we've just got to string it together. It takes a while. New manager, squad's coming together, players in and out. It needs a bit of time. We've had 2 bad games, 1 good game, and they've got 3 points. So, is that really the end of the world? Not particularly. I think Palace really is a good tester.
My heart was in my mouth because Decore had one ruled off for offside, didn't he? So we had the rub of the green that day. But one player I want to mention, Jack, I'll come to you with it, is Neto. I thought he was absolutely awful, but that cross,
the goal, that's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah, like he literally won us the game. So if you didn't do that assist, I literally would have said let's drop him next game. But he's so frustrating still for me. He was good against United, but the last 2, apart from that assist, I think he's been rubbish.
I think he's looked a bit off the pace, particularly in the last 2 games, like you said, really. And what do you do though? It's one of those weird things because do you keep him on the pitch? Because surprisingly, he was even on the pitch that late when he's made such a limited impact really to the game. I know you could argue like Cunha didn't offer anything either, did he?
No, he didn't.
Saturday,
no.
I think he looked completely off the pace as well. But then when you whip that ball in, and if they have got a big man to work off now, then let's just say all round it wasn't a very good performance, but there were some good individual performances, like the goalkeeper and these sorts of things. So we just have to take it like that and go and work again. But let's say well done to Sasha as well, because he's had to wait a long time for his chance. He got his goal. I don't think he knew much about it. I think it went off his shoulder, but it doesn't matter. That confused their keeper enough, so it's fine.
His shoulder's where most of our heads are anyway.
Yeah. Amazing moment for him, because he comes across as such a nice bloke, and then documentaries and that. So I was buzzing for him, and what a story as well. Really, all that recovery to come back.
Just got to go back to the Neto thing a minute, because I'm worried about him as well. I mean, the injury he had, none of us have really touched on it, and I don't think it's been spoken about in the press. What he did was a really seriously bad injury. Like, breaking your kneecap is fucking up there as one of the worst injuries you can do. So, like they said, who was it? Michael Owen, after he did his hamstring, was never the same player again. Or if you do an ACL, you're never the same player again. I reckon this is up there as one of those injuries that can change a player. It's a shocker.
Well, it has, hasn't it? He hasn't
I just hope he tries to find some form soon.
He's so predictable as well. He's obviously it worked for the Sasa goal, but he don't go down the byline when he's on the right. He just cuts it and crosses it. He did a few good crosses against United, but he's got to mix it up and just try and get down the line and whip balls in, or just keep doing that and setting up Sasa. Just cut it and keep whipping it in. But a huge win. Like, it feels a bit like like Jack mentioned, when we beat them there last year at Lopetegui. It's kind of like kick-started our season, hasn't it? And hopefully it can push us on. But yeah, if you had to, obviously, apart from Jose Sarr, is there anyone else on the outfield? I personally thought Semedo had a good game again, but I don't know if you agree, Bayliss, with that one.
Well, it's got to be Sarr, hasn't it? I don't think there's...
Yeah, obviously, but any outfield players?
Performance. I thought we were a bit lethargic. I didn't think we looked at the races, really. I think we created a few chances. I thought Nori got forward quite well, but then we got quite out the back a bit. So 6 one half dozen the other. There's only one place you can really go.
Yeah, I agree. It's this goalkeeper, isn't it? But going back to saying it was a big win, Harry, I agree. 'Cause I said, I think on this podcast before I went on holiday, that I was really, really worried about us getting to that Luton game and not having a win on the board. And this, looking on paper, was probably our best opportunity of actually, after the defeat to Brighton, was our best opportunity of getting points on the board. So it was really, really important. Important for us, important for our confidence, important for Gary O'Neill as well, to get some on there early. And now we go to Palace on Sunday, and it just changes the dynamic because we're not as desperate. We can go there and just try and get a result, and then we're another point closer, and we just chip away at it, because we do have some difficult fixtures coming up. But it just takes the pressure off straight away, and will change the mentality of that dressing room like straight on. So it's a massive win, even though we probably didn't deserve a victory. I don't think, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, let's move on then to the Blackpool game. I went up, sat in the Billy right upper, the luxury seats, felt like royalty. £63 it cost me. It didn't, it was 15. But the shocking thing for me, lads, I sat there, I was watching it. Obviously the team come out, Johnny's in there, Kilman's at the back, but I couldn't really work out what we were going to play. And it turns out it was a 3-4-3, which was like the old Nuno style setup. Johnny was meant to be right wing back, but he did hardly get back. He just stayed up there. But
he need to get back.
No, exactly. They hit the post a couple of times, but it was domination. But job done, and it's nice to see Sasha score again. Obviously, Fabio got his goal, and your favourite player got a double. What did you make of the finishes?
Very happy with that. I think Ian made a comment, if you can dig it out.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll go up. Don't worry. I got it.
I mean, I was a happy man. I've always liked Doherty. All of my comments, if you go back to any podcast and we talk about Doherty, I said he gets you a couple of goals, and that's the difference. And he's already got 2, which is, it's pretty good going against a crock of crap. But fair enough, he's got his goal. He's trying to fight for a first team place, and it's keeping everyone on their toes. So I'm happy with that. You know what? Do you remember when he scored the winner at Palace a few years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Were you there that night? Yeah. Do you know what day that was? Sorry, I'm going on a complete tangent here.
Sunday.
It's the day our American friend Aaron came over, who we met through the podcast. Yeah. And brought his sister, who I don't think had ever been outside of Kansas, and we took his Palace away.
And we won, yeah, amazingly. It's brilliant.
Get back over.
Just for the purpose of the podcast listeners, the comment that Dan was referring to then said that Doherty scored the same amount of goals in 6 minutes as Semedo has in 2 years, referring obviously to his brace against Blackpool last night. But one thing that I liked about it, obviously I didn't go to the game last night. You're the one with all the inside info there, Harry. The one thing I liked about it is that even though we made changes, I know like Fabio and Kilman were sort of there probably for the starters from the other day. Dispatching lower league opposition at home in the cup is something that we should be doing as a Premier League team, and historically something that we've always struggled with a little bit. Like that's what Man City would do to Blackpool. They'd score 5 against them with their reserves, and the fact that we've gone and done that is, it's a promising sign really, and it also shows, I think, that the players who were on the fringes who got their chance last night trying to get into the team and taking it seriously, which can only be a good thing, because if they just not turned up and it'd been slow paced and they turned up with the mentality that they were going to win anyway because of who they were playing, it could have been a very different outcome. But it sounds like they were very professional and they were the dominant side, and hopefully that's a good thing for the whole team, and it's good for us to have an easy night, even though it's only the League Cup, I'd say. But if we get through a couple more rounds, it'll be the best thing ever.
Yeah, John White's put here, he said, how did Johnny play last night? And someone else put in the comments, he just did what he wanted. That is literally what he was like. He just stayed up there. He had one shot where he cut in. But if you see any way Johnny gets back into the Premier League teams, I don't. Like,
I really like Johnny as well.
Yeah.
I love Johnny. And I know he had bad injuries and that's probably crocked him, but he's too far off it now, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
I thought he'd be gone.
He's gone. Yeah,
I thought he'd have left, to be honest with you. I think if some club would have come in Spain and offered 2 million, we'd have bit their hand off, to be honest. Just because you say he's not been the same player since the injuries. But remember when he first came in for us and we replaced Barry Douglas with him, he was just superb, wasn't he? Like those first like 2 seasons in the Premier League, he was instrumental in our success. So it's a shame, really, but I can't see him getting much first team football with the way that we're setting up and the way that Gary O'Neill seems to have favoured his lineup so far, to be honest.
Yeah, the one bad thing that did happen in the game, I don't know if you saw this on the highlights or it's been mentioned, but Hodge pulled up. He was like running through, and I hadn't heard the updates on it, but it looked a bad one, so I don't think he's going to be available for the weekend. But he played well. Like, we had 72% possession, 9 shots on target, like as you would expect against a League One team. But they all tried. That's what I really liked about it, because in years gone by in the Carabao Cup, we've struggled, haven't we? So that was what impressed me the most. But yeah, it was a nice routine win. But what was really good to see as well, like Alfie Pond come on, Harvey Griffiths and Nathan Fraser actually scored the 5th. So it was really good to see some young lads get a chance. They probably won't get in, but that Alfie Pond looks like probably out of the 3, I'd say. Or maybe Fraser, that might be the most likely to get in. But Bayliss, would you like to see any of them be on the bench Sunday?
They might have to be, the way it's going.
Yeah. I think they've got no choice.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy with them having a go. I mean, there's nothing. It's one of those games where we've got a bit of a free hit, right? We're going away from home and we can sort of have a go at it. So a young, hungry player coming on for the last 10, 15 minutes to try and grab a goal, nothing wrong with that. Problem is, I'll be bricking it if we're 1-0 up and trying to defend the lead.
But sorry, Ray in the comments, I'll just get it up. He put Sarabia man of the match. That is a shout. Like someone like Sarabia could have been not asked against Blackpool, let's be honest, but he was really good. Like he was involved in most of the goals, put a lot of effort in, and I reckon he could be a contender to start after that performance Sunday as well. Would you have him in there, Jack, or was he frustrating the life out of you, like a lot of people?
Well, I didn't watch the game last night. I think he's been frustrating in his league performances, but didn't they say like 3 or 4 assists last night he got or something silly?
Yeah, he was involved in most of them, yeah.
Yeah, so, that's, again, you'd expect a player who's played for the clubs he has against Blackpool to come on and be able to run the show, and it sounds like he did. Would it get him a place in the starting lineup on Sunday? Probably not, but it's a good option off the bench if he is coming in firing in, and we do need a goal, particularly in the later bits. But as I said, it's exactly what you want. You want your fringe players to come in and take it seriously and show you what they can do, and it sounds like they've done that, which is can only be positive.
The one player that stood out for me as well, like it just shocked me a bit. Kilman, we complain about him not really being a captain, not being vocal and that. He really stood out for me watching it. Like he led by example for once, which he don't really show in the Premier League. Maybe because he felt like he had to step up with all the young lads about. But because when he's next to Dawson, I feel like he just shrinks a bit into his shadow. But it'd be nice if he showed it a bit more, wouldn't it? I know they're giving Kilman the captaincy, but I think in the league games, Dawson would probably be a better shout for captain, to be honest. I can understand why they've done it because Kilman's been there longer, and it probably is something to do with what you were saying, the fact that when he's not the most senior
defender, centre back there, he has to step up. But when he's by Craig Dawson, who's got way more Premier League appearances than him, he's played the game longer. I can understand why he might feel a little bit intimidated, but it sounds like it was the perfect night, really, all round.
I also had a pie as well, just to let you know they are shite. So I won't be having one.
How much was it?
Oh God knows. I had a pie and a pint. So it's not, is it still a deal? I don't even know. I'll just tap the card, mate. It's one of them. I was I was sat behind all the press box and everything. Like, it ain't worth 60 quid, put it that way. But good view at least. But should we move on to Palace? Preview the Palace game coming up the weekend.
There's one thing we missed, Harry. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
You called up your friends again after the Everton game.
Oh, I did, yes.
So
after
you've got to tell the listeners what happened when you phoned up TalkSport again.
Yeah, so obviously everyone, if people listen to the podcast, I rang them up after Brighton lost my head. So I thought, because I said on that call, like, we're going to beat Everton, don't worry. We're going to come good, we're going to win. So I rang up again. The producers obviously recognised me. They were like, yeah, get on, son. And I got on, and straight away, Gabby knew who I was, because he was going, oh, you want a trophy parade? Do you want a trophy parade? And I was just about to get into it, just getting warmed up. And then O'Hara went, oh, sorry, Harry, we've got to go to Man United. Ten Hag is being interviewed. And just cut me straight off. Gone.
Okay. What did you get in there? I didn't listen to it. What did you get in just before you got cut off?
I just said, it's funny, isn't it, Gabby? You've had us to go down every year. What did I say last week? We've played well against Man United, dodgy against Brighton, but we're going to go and beat Everton. And I said that, and he was going, he just kept going, you want a trophy parade, dude? Do you want a trophy parade? He just kept saying that. So if he'd have carried on longer, me and Gabby would have just been arguing again, but I'm not ringing again anymore. I think that's the end of it. O'Hara, we weren't having any of it. He wanted me gone. I think he was buzzing that they had to speak to Ten Hag.
Oh, they must have loved that though, especially when the producers thought, it's this bloke again from last week. We had to clip it up last time. Get him on. Yeah, I could
hear the producers hard on when he realised who it was. I could hear it. I could hear it on the thing. They love it. They absolutely love it. I was going to be really smug and act like no, but it wasn't to be. But I won't be ringing them again because they are absolute idiots. But yeah, should we move on to Palace? Should we go on to the preview Palace? So they've Bayless, they've won. I think they lost to Arsenal and they've drew. Always a tough place to go. You just mentioned though, Magic Doherty goal a few years ago. I think we've had a few stinkers there as well. But are you confident going into it? Do you think we can get a result there?
It is a tough place to go. I think last year we lost there 2-1 narrowly. I've seen us draw there 1-1 in a last-minute goal and then the win there. I don't know. I know a lot of Palace fans living where I live, so I really want to do them over. It is a tough place. They haven't started badly. I thought they played quite well against Arsenal, actually, from what I saw of it. But at the same time, they're not the threat they probably once were. So hopefully we can try and nullify them a little bit. Play like we played at Man United. Get onto them. They're probably a quicker, stronger team than Man United. But there we go. I don't know. Palace fans weren't very optimistic at the start of this season. Just passing conversation with quite a few of them I know. They weren't optimistic. And they've had a fair start. But it is one of those games you go and target, as I just said, like a free hit, right? You're going away from home. It's a team you can beat. You just throw the kitchen sink at it and have a go. So hopefully we set up like we did for Man U, be attacking, be aggressive, get the big lad up there, get some balls in the box, and hopefully we get something. I mean, I want to get something because to stand in that utter shithole for 2 hours,
get wet.
It's the biggest shithole in England. Luton actually might be worse this year, but it is the worst away end. So I just, anyone that's got to get the number 75 bus to Croydon needs to get a decent result from the end of it.
Jack, what team would you start if you had to predict the starting lineup? Do you think it's going to be the same as? I say Everton. Do you think it'd be the same? Well, the Hwang's injured, so that's
Well, that's the thing. So the thing is, we're running out of sort of midfield players at the moment because we've lost Nunes. I think Hodges' injury, by the looks of it, was quite bad. Well, from what I've read on Twitter, so I think they're probably going to need. We need to bring in reinforcements in the midfield area straight away because we potentially lost 2 players in the space of 24 hours there. I know we are looking to do that with what's been going on transfer wise, but in terms of being ready to start and play on Sunday, I don't know because it's a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment. Palace, obviously, they did well towards the end of last season. I think 4 points from 3 games so far is probably what they'd call par for their supporters. Probably what you'd expect, really. Obviously, better than us. Tough place to go. But how do you really set up for this? It's going to be a difficult one because I think we really need to try and limit the number of chances that the other teams are creating because Brighton tore us apart. Everton created loads of chances. We won't get away with that every week.
No.
Like that game could have been 3 or 4-0, and after 60 minutes gone with the way they were creating chances. So I think we need to be a little bit more. Not too defensive, but we need to set up a little bit better and just limit the chances and be a bit more compact, particularly in the middle. But the question is, how do you do that with the players that you've got available? And I'm ranting here because I don't quite know the answer. I know you flirted earlier with saying let's play Aït-Nouri and Bueno in the same team, which could happen because it worked quite well the other day. So, but is that too attacking for this game? I don't know.
Worries me.
Well, I think having Aït-Nouri there, it's like Aït-Nouri's a bit of cover defensively, though, isn't he? Like having him on the left, like get back and help Bueno. But Bayliss, would you start Kalajic after his winner, or would you just stick with Cunha and Fabio?
Yeah, this is where I'm sort of struggling with it because I like the way we got balls into him, and he clearly holds the ball up. But I also really like the way Cunha runs at people. So maybe we play I don't know. This is getting into realms of ridiculousness here, where you try and play a couple of holding midfielders, have Cunha sitting in front of him so he can run with the ball, and have Kalajic and Fabio up top. But it's a damn dangerous formation trying to play that way.
But Jack, would you start Doherty over Semedo after his 2 goals in the week?
Maybe we should play Doherty up front.
Yeah, he's finishing unreal. He's our best finisher.
I don't think Semedo deserves to be dropped based on his performances, particularly obviously defensively. He offers very little
He's
going
been very
forward.
good so far, really. Hasn't he?
But he has been good overall, exactly. So, I mean, I'm not saying I'd be against bringing Doherty on if we were chasing the game because he's obviously more of a goal threat. With regards to would I start Sasha, probably not. I think if your big man comes on, you score in the late minute, that's an option you've got on the bench then, if he can come on and do that. And he's probably not had quite enough game time. I know he played last night as well, so probably needs a bit of a rest. But didn't Fabio play the whole game last night, I saw, pretty much?
Yeah, but he come off towards the end. But
I know he's only 21, but he's got a fair few minutes this campaign so far. So I wouldn't necessarily change the strikers. But, if they want to try something a bit different, it's down to what Gary O'Neill reads into Palace, really. He's the guy to know whether we need a big man or whether we need a guy who can't score. I don't know.
I just got to bring it up. I was going to bring it up when we did the transfer bit at the end. But did you see that Semedo, there was that rumour that Man United wanted to swap him for Wan-Bissaka? What's that all about? We're always linked with Wan-Bissaka. What a strange one. But I'd rather have Semedo at the moment.
I'd rather have Semedo. Wan-Bissaka's crap in the first couple
of games. I never thought you'd say that.
He's defended really well. He's been a serious asset this year.
Yeah, definitely. But Jack, if you had to have a score prediction for this, what are you feeling?
I think we will probably lose. I'm going to be optimistic and say 1-1.
Bayliss?
Oh, I don't know. The realist in me says an optimistic 1-1. I'd love to say like 2-1 Wolves, but...
Yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2, I think. I don't think we're going to win. But you got any betting odds for it, Bayliss?
I do. I've got a few for you.
Whet our appetites.
I did a little bet builder. Draw. Final result to be a draw. Sarabia to score in 90 minutes. 4+ corners each team. 33-1. Not too bad. A 1-0 Wolves. Fabio Silva to get the goal. Only 55-1, but that's pretty good for a 1-0 win.
It should be about 500-1 the way he's been finishing, but yeah.
And then, I don't know why. Ari and I were talking before the game. We picked these, but they're absolutely ridiculous, so I apologise in advance. Aït-Nouri to grab the first goal because of how he's been getting forward. A 2-2 draw, 400-1.
You never know, he's left wing.
And then, Harry, I've done your special bet for you. Neto to score first, 4-1 Wolves.
Oh, man, 1,000.
Yeah, 1,100-1.
Wow. Just on that, I had 4-1 against Blackpool. And when we went 4-0 up, I was dying for Blackpool to score, and they smashed one off the bar second half. I was jumping up in the billy, right? Go on, son. Obviously, it's never going to happen. Then Nathan Fraser spoilt my party. But is that all the bets, Bayliss? Actually, are we favourites, Bayliss? Sorry to put you on the bar. Are we the dog?
No.
We
won't. We are. Give me 1 minute. Chat amongst yourselves. I'll dig it out quickly.
I'll do some very brief ticket news while you're doing that. I mean, I can't think for a minute that we'll be favourites away at Palace with the way we've started. But there's not a lot to say, really. One point of note is the Crystal Palace away tickets actually went down to just normal season ticket holders. I think they didn't sell that well at all. But granted, it's a Sunday 2:00 at a terrible ground, a terrible place to get to when there's train strikes on. Yeah, exactly. So I can understand why the appetite for that wasn't too good. The next home game is obviously that Liverpool game, which is on the 16th of September. There's a handful of tickets left for that in the green stand, which are on sale to members at the moment, I believe.
Is that an early kickoff, Jack?
That's a 12:30. It's on TV. Yeah, it's 12:30. And then international break as well, isn't there, before that, which is a bit annoying. So it's throwing the ticket news out because the next away game after that is Luton away, which will have about an allocation of 15 tickets for, given the tiny
Are they built?
ground size.
Are they allowed? Are we allowed to go?
I don't know. I'd hope so by the 23rd of September. But otherwise, they'll have to play all their games after Christmas. But there'll be a very small allocation for that. It will just go to the away season ticket holders, I'd have thought, because we're only going to be able to get about 1,000 tickets, and that's it for the immediate future.
I've got the results. The results. I've got the betting odds. Palace are the wrong side of even money. 11-10 on.
Yeah, that's about.
Wolves are just over 3-1.
100 quid on that.
It's a good bet.
Be a waste of money.
Draws just over 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to be biased and backers, definitely. I bet 4-1's massive. I'm definitely going to back that. It'll be about 60-1, I reckon. But we'll end on a few transfer rumours and we'll just go through them. Because let's be honest, all these players we're linked with, we never know who they are, do we? Unless you're like a football manager, which you ain't got a clue. But I think it's because of the Nunes deal that this is all happening towards the end. But this Santiago Bueno, a centre-back for 12 million from, I think it's Girona in La Liga. But apparently Lopetegui identified him as a target when he was with us. And then Jeff Hughes was like, nah, like no money. And now they're letting Gary O'Neill get him. So nice to get a centre-back in. We've been dying for that, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Young as well, 24. Decent. Good age.
Yeah, I know nothing apart from the fact he's Uruguayan. That's about it. But
they're always shit houses, don't they? So that's a good sign.
It's a position that we need to get reinforcements in. I wouldn't be confident if there was a long-term injury to Dawson or Kilman with Totti or Johnny having to step up and be centre back. So we need another person.
Yeah, the other rumours, Enzo Gonzalez is an attacker from Club Libertad. Obviously, no idea, but do you think we need another attacker?
He's a really young lad. He's only 18.
18, 19. Maybe that's one they'll just sell on and we regret it, like Goncalves. Iheanacho. Do you see the Iheanacho rumours as well?
That's the one that got me a little bit excited when I read that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him at Leicester, really. I know Leicester have done quite well in their start to the league, but I'm not sure if he's been playing or not. I don't know really, but that's one that he can score, can't he? So that's any player who scored goals in the Premier League who wants to come here, then sign him up.
The big one that's come out today is 25 million for Habib Diarra. Another one I'm not too sure about, but people are raving about that one.
That's the one people are excited about, isn't it? It's from what's one of the French teams, isn't it? I'm not quite sure which one it was, but again, I'm basing my opinion just on basically what I've read on Twitter, but people seem excited by that one. But I think the latest thing I saw is our first bid was rejected like a couple of hours ago. So that's one. It's going to be exciting 48 hours, really, which usually is really boring as a Wolves fan. So
I thought we'd have nothing to talk about transfers, but it's all of a sudden hotting up. But the other one as well, I noticed that he slipped by me a bit. It was Guedes has gone back to Benfica on loan. Are you annoyed that he didn't get a chance at Wolves, Baylis?
No, it's absolutely crap. Get rid of him. That's a big waste of money.
That's a massive waste of money. That is.
That's huge waste of money.
That's one of the.
If we get 10 million back, we'll be lucky.
Somebody said, I read it just on Twitter, that's probably our worst value pound for pound signing ever, and I think it's probably right.
Paul Gladden.
Yeah, but I mean, pound for pound, like how much we spent on him, considering how much game time we got. So.
And the other thing is, Twitter's going to be terrible for the next couple of days because the rumour mill's churning and there are some real ones in there. There's going to be so much crap.
Yeah, definitely. I want to know what's going to happen with Pedence as well. The last I heard, it was Celtic, wasn't it, for 12 million or something? But
went a bit quiet though.
He's like unfollowed us on social media and everything, so he's got to go. He's like a rotten egg, and hopefully they sort that one out.
I think with the way it's been going, there's quite a few players that even if a bid of around £5 million came in on the last day, that we'd consider it. Like you said, like Johnny, you said Podence, these sorts of players who basically a few players who've been here a few years and probably played last night as well, who aren't going to get into this first team anytime soon. I think they're just cashing on them, to be brutally honest. I don't blame him.
No, yeah, it's a shame with that one. But like even Nunes going, like you say, but Wolves a few years ago when they were saying they only get people who are like really nice blokes and that, but I feel like that's gone out the window, isn't it? With the likes of Nunes, Pedence, even
I don't think there's
Guedes.
such a thing in football, is there? Like,
No. Well, I mean, look at Neves. Like he played to the end. Even Traore played to the end, didn't he? Like if Nunes should have done that, to be honest, come training. But Martinho was a bit bad, wasn't it? Like the way he went out, he was another
a
one.
few times he was a bit of a pain,
I don't
wasn't
know.
he? But
I think if you get a room full of 24-year-old millionaires with egos and that are slapped all over telly, they're never always going to be nice blokes, are they?
no, of course not. But Martinho was like 35. He should know better, really.
Oh yeah, well he did, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know how true this comment from Dino is. I don't know if it's just a joke, but he's saying that 5 million to Sporting for Pedence. Porky cheese press. Is that some kind of, I don't know if that's a joke or not, but if it is, you've done me there. Yeah, just one more thing I want to mention before we go. I ain't put it in the notes or anything, it's just come back to me. Did any of you listen to Coady on the Ben Foster podcast?
No, I saw the clip of it, but
I'm assuming most people listening to this, like Wolves fans, honestly listen to it. It's so like some of the insight Coady talks about from the Nuno era, especially, like a really, really good listen. You can tell he still obviously loves Wolves as well, but obviously you lot slagged him off, so maybe you shouldn't.
I tell you what, there's a point about a month ago when I was thinking, God, why have we sold him? We could really use him now.
Yeah.
We're going to be in a relegation slog battle. We'll play 3 centre backs. Screw it, it's fine. Let's just get him back. But it's nice that he's talking nice things. I will actually have to go listen to that.
And it was funny as well because Ben Foster spoke about. Remember when we beat Watford 4-0 and Neves lobbed it.
Yeah,
and he said genuinely that day the South Bank just rattled him. Like he admitted it. Like he said that they got in his head. Yeah, really. It's interesting because obviously the history of the FA Cup semi-final they talk about. Foster was there, wasn't he? But really interesting. Listen, if you want to listen to that and you haven't. But lads, we've got through it somehow without Sam. Honestly, hosting a podcast, he makes it look so easy. It's fucking hard. It's fucking hard. Well, I think it is.
Harry.
Yeah, we got through it. But Bayliss, say goodbye to. We've got 142 listeners. I think that's a record.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for tuning in live. Cheers.
Yeah. Are we going to do one next week or is it international break?
It's international break, so we might, but probably not because Sam is going to be in Cyprus and we might do one the week after so then we can like talk about Palace if it's still relevant. And yeah, be nice to have Sam back. But yeah, so see you everyone. Please like the video if you haven't already. And thanks everyone for your comments. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll catch you next time.